With the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division. And right now, our officers and detectives are working a call where 2 people were shot. Just before 2 p.m., West Precinct officers received a call of shots fired in the 1500 block of Cullman Avenue. We also received about 20 plus shot spotter rounds registered on our shot spotter system. Officers were updated that a person was shot on Cullman Avenue. Officers arrived on the scene when they observed an adult male lying in the roadway suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. Birmingham Fire and Rescue personnel arrived on the scene and then transported him to UAB Hospital. We are being told he has suffered life-threatening injuries. While our officers were here on Cullman Avenue, we received a call from Fire Station 16 in the Inslee area that they had a juvenile who was shot that arrived at the fire station. West Precinct officers responded to the fire station, and the rescue unit transported a juvenile male to Children's Hospital with a gunshot wound. He has suffered life-threatening injuries as well. We believe the juvenile may be anywhere from 11 years old to 12 years old. The preliminary investigation has revealed we believe the shooting of both victims is connected, and we believe that everything took place in the 1500 block of Cullman Avenue. From what it appears, both of the victims were here in the 1500 block of Cullman Avenue when an unknown suspect or suspects fired shots at them while they were inside a vehicle. And we believe someone transported that juvenile victim to Fire Station 16 to receive treatment. We have no one in custody. However, we're hopeful because this took place in broad daylight. It's a residential neighborhood. Anyone who saw anything or heard anything, please reach out to Crime Stoppers, where you will remain anonymous so you can receive cash for your tip.
So a juvenile involved in that. How rare is it for someone to drop someone off at a fire station? Does that happen that often?
It does happen, and we are thankful that whoever dropped the juvenile off at the fire station did so, because the medics were able to transport him straight to Children's Hospital. And that's always better for the rescue unit to transport a gunshot victim, because they can be receiving life-saving treatment on the way to the hospital versus if you transport someone in your personal vehicle to the hospital.
And is it known who transported the child, or did they just drop them off?
Unknown. I was speaking to our officers, and it is unknown who transported that juvenile right now.
And of course, today is Mother's Day. Having a situation like this where a child is seriously injured on a day when the mother is celebrating having given life to this child in the first place. Talk to us a little bit about what that means for your officers to be out here to see them.
It's heartbreaking anytime you see a juvenile be hit by gunfire. You add that to, we think that the victims may be father and son, which multiplies the heartbreak. And regardless of how old the victims are, we just want the public to know that we're going to do everything we can to bring the suspects to justice. And what we want to point out is, look, we know this took place in a heavily populated residential neighborhood. 20 plus shots were fired. Someone heard something, someone saw something. Please come forward. Pike Road sits right off Cullman Avenue, which is heavily populated by people in houses. We know someone heard shots. We know someone may have seen a car speed off from the area. Please give us that information if you have it.
So did you say you thought this was random or targeted?
We do not think this was random. Speaking to patrol officers, we believe this was a targeted shooting, and one of the victims was targeted in this shooting.
I had a couple of other follow-up
Sure.
questions to a couple of other shootings that y'all been working. Could you update us on the shooting that happened on 1st and 8th Avenue West near Legion Field?
I'll say this, if it's not connected to this one, we'll talk about it off camera. Okay. But yeah, we just want to get the word out on the Cullman Avenue shooting. Okay. And we also want to point out that although the victims have suffered life-threatening injuries, our officers have been getting updates that we are hopeful that they will survive. So we've been getting some really, really good updates from Children's Hospital and UAB Hospital.
So were they, you said it was a father-son, you think, were they just hanging out in the yard? Like I heard maybe one of them over the scanner was like in the car or something like that.
They arrived in a vehicle, and from the moment they arrived, we know that they were shot in a targeted shooting. So just, if you have information, just think about that for a second. Someone shot a father and son on Mother's Day. So please come forward with that information.
Obviously, in recent shootings that we've had in Birmingham, like the one at the gas station a couple weeks ago, we've had reports that maybe modifications to weapons have been made to make them firing more rounds. Obviously, we have 20 plus rounds fired in this shooting. Is there any reason at this point for police to believe that modifications were made to weapons again in this incident?
The scariest thing about this shooting is, from listening to the shot spotter, this does not appear to be an automatic weapon. These were 20 plus shots fired by either multiple shooters or by one shooter with one gun. This did not sound like automatic gunfire from the shot spotter. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Let me get this.